Wow, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So those of you who have been on several of our events so far see the wonderful technological upgrades that our team and Courtney's team have put together for you. So thank you everyone for joining us for our first of hopefully several leadership series luncheons. So today, I'm so thankful for our sponsors first and foremost. So we have with us, I think I see him on my little screen here. I have David Stimson with AES Clean Energy. Thank you, David, for joining us. And then we have Marianne Clyde with Business Your Way. So David's gonna say a couple of words here for us to help kick off today. And then Marianne is gonna introduce Courtney and away we go. David.
Hi, everyone. David Stimson, for those who haven't met yet. I'm work with AES Clean Energy. Also on the call today in the red suit jacket there is Helen Humphries. She's on our community relations team. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting to and probably talking your ear off about solar, we do have a solar project coming to Fauquier County. So that's how we got involved with the chamber, and we're just, head over heels excited to be 100th anniversary series sponsors. Thank you again 1,000 times for welcoming us into your community. And really, like I said, excited to off this series with you all.
Thank you, David. Much appreciated. Marianne.
There I go. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for sponsoring, David. Nice to meet you, although virtually. I just am so excited to see everybody here. This is a really neat deal. And I'll tell you what, when I first spoke to Courtney, she blew me away with all the information and options she has to share with us. So we chose one option to start with, and I'm really excited about that because Courtney is a senior consultant with Giant. And that's a personal development firm that specializes in developing the potential of people. She loves working with those who want to reach their full potential. And since 2017, Courtney's used her deep listening and innate people skills, which will be obvious to you throughout the presentation, to help leaders and organizations of all sizes and industries transform into leaders worth following and companies people want to work for. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say about the influence model, Courtney. I've been looking forward to this for, 2 months since we spoke. So I've got my worksheet. I hope everybody downloaded their worksheet and my pen. I'm ready to take notes, ready to write down my questions. So take it away, Courtney Jordan.
Thank you, Marianne, so much. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. So as I share, I will tell you that it's come to my attention that this is going to be maybe a little bit different than other workshops or webinars that you've taken with the chamber. It's going to be highly interactive, and you'll know why in a little bit more as I explain what we actually do. So I wanted to introduce myself a little bit more just so you get to know me. I will be a part of this series for the next year. And if you do enough of these with me, you'll be able to repeat my spiel back to me by the end of the year. But just again, a little bit about me. I am a Virginia native. The very first house that I came home to was in Fauquier County in Upperville. So I was born there and spent the first 6 years of my life in Fauquier County. I am a University of Virginia graduate, and I do love sports. So that is actually my license plate. So if I cut you off, I'm so sorry. I try, personal license plates are really dangerous. Like, oh wait, I know that girl, right? And that is Sportney, a Courtney who loves sports. So quickest way to fight me is to tell me that UVA is not still the national champions in basketball, because I don't know that anybody else won the tournament last year. So I think we're still the defending champions. So there's that. This is my happy place down in the left-hand corner. That is Andros. It is a real place. It is Andros Island, Bahamas. Contrary to what I do for a living and being on stage and teaching, I am actually an introvert, and I go and I sit in one of those chairs and 5 days and I just read and I enjoy that. So I love to travel. I'm really looking forward to doing that again in the near future. In the center here, this is my lovely family. To be honest, it's a dated photo because, COVID. So all of the little kiddos in there are fantastic, are much bigger than they are in that. But I do not have children of my own, but I am a fantastic fun Aunt Coco to the 3 nieces and 1 nephew that I have. So you can call me Sportney. You cannot call me Aunt Coco. Okay. So I set the ground rules. That's a special title for me. I live in Loudoun now. So I didn't go far from Fauquier. I went Fauquier, Fairfax, and now I'm back. I've been in Loudoun for 14 years. This is one of the lovely wineries, Cana, right on Route 50 that I love to visit. That's fairly close to my house. And then last but not least, fun fact, I play competitive cornhole. It's a thing. If you haven't seen it on ESPN, it was one of the few things that people actually did during COVID. And this is a brewery where I play. We have some leagues started up again, but I haven't started, but just a little bit of fun fact. So as Marianne announced, I work for a company called Giant, not the grocery store. And I admit that this is the only place in the country where we are confused with that. So we work for, it's a company called Giant, and we do people intelligence. We were founded more as an events company. So if you've ever heard of Chick-fil-A LeaderCast, Catalyst, or the John Maxwell brands, our CEO and founder used to own all of those. And he no longer does, but we were founded as an events company. And what happened was after the event, he would get comment after comment, well, what's next? And when you're an events company, the answer is always, do you have your ticket to next year? And instead of this, let me point you to this, tool, let me give you some development, stuff like that. So we still love those. I'm not bashing them. It just, we realized that information transfer wasn't enough for transformation. And so our co-founders got together and said, hey, we want to do something a little bit more. And that's how Giant was built. So what do? We say people intelligence. We unlock the potential of people through individuals, teams, and organizations. And we do that by using what we call scalable people development. Our goal is to create a leadership language that then transforms culture. So the leadership language is objective, it's common, it's viral. So when everybody speaks, they know what X means. You said X. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Instead of you said X, well, I really thought you meant Y. Well, why would you think that? Because you heard me say X. Well, story. Anybody know what pants are in England in the UK. And just so you know, this is highly interactive. So you may come off mute. I may ask you to chat. We're going to be doing some fun things with breakout rooms. David, what are pants in the UK?
Are they trousers? Final answer.
Correct, because pants in the UK are actually underwear. So if you say, hey, what kind of pants are you wearing? People may feel like you're being a little bit too personal to a Brit, okay? You don't need to know that information. So we want to create something that's objective. Everybody knows what they're talking about. We do that by using visual tools. We live in a visual society. Words, people who write long emails, chances are you can bury some really bad news at the bottom of an email because people have checked out after about 7 seconds. So we want to use visual tools that are simple, they're practical, and they're scalable. The less words, the better. This is actually one of our tools that we use to give people that idea of how can I actually take this to more people. We are after 100% transformation. We're looking to build healthy leaders. You can't give away that which you don't possess. And so if you are not healthy, that is what you're giving away, whether it's to your team, your family, your friends, your organization, your community. We're looking for 100% transformation. And we do that with personal growth and then team performance. It starts with you. And so a lot of what we're going to do in some of these is a lot of self-awareness stuff. And once you start that transformation, how do you multiply? How are you intentional about it? Not just being a leader who adds, subtracts, and definitely not a leader who divides. So being a leader who intentionally multiplies their influence throughout the organization. So as I mentioned, you're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to do breakout rooms. You guys are going to get a chance to talk to each other. We're going to do some peer-to-peer learning. And when you go to your breakout rooms, and this is just kind of our warm-up to get you going. I want you to be talking about who has influenced you most in your life and why do you think they've been so influential? So I think we're actually going to do groups of 3. And so when we do our groups of 3, it's going to be kind of like the Matrix, like, where am I going? And then you'll be there. You take a moment, introduce yourself, but then have everybody share, and we'll do a little processing when we come back. So I'll see you in about 6 minutes. There we go. Great job. Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Yeah, it was great. Did you tell them to have their cameras on?
No, actually I did not.
Okay, that's great. I love it. There's so many that I can see their faces.
Yes, they don't mind. I am going to go check on them. I'm going to send them a message too. I'll send the questions over to them now.
Perfect.
Hello there, sir.
Hey, Ginger, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm right in the middle of a General Assembly session, but I wanted to make sure I made myself available for as much time as I can for this.
You
So,
are so awesome. I was sending you a text and then I was like, well, maybe he's in his car. I wasn't really sure.
yeah. No, we've got a bill going up before the House, and that we're making contact with Delegate Guzman, actually. So how are you? How's everyone?
Everybody's doing well. Yes, everybody's doing great. You?
Doing as good as we can right now. COVID secure. I guess I could say it that way, right?
COVID secure. I love it. Yeah, no, they are all actually in breakout rooms. If you'd like to join one, it depends how much time you have. They have about 2 minutes left and then they're going to come back to this room.
Yeah.
Our presenter is still in this room, Courtney.
Hi,
She's
Courtney. How are
awesome.
you? Yeah. Thanks for your presentation. I'm sorry I missed the first part of it. Hoping to hear.
That's just the intro, and there's lots of jokes in there. You haven't missed the meat of the work yet. So
Got it. So did you guys make a joke about me? Because that's perfectly fine if you did.
I did. Actually, I did. I said, I don't know where Bob is, but
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to wait till you were here to do that kind of stuff, 'cause-
Okay. I would have thought it would have been something like, what about Bob? But, okay, I get it.
Yes.
that's right.
Don't forget about I like Bob. That's pretty important too.
Mhm. It is. And I see Noah's just logging in. Noah, can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. They have about a minute till they come back from the breakout rooms. I can put you in one now, or you can just hang out here with us.
I'll just hang out. Thank you.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
say hang out, and then by that time it's like you're there, then you come back. and
Exactly.
There's no need.
There's
What
only about
they're
50
discuss-
seconds
yeah,
left.
what they're discussing, Bob and Noah, is what I do is very interactive. So we're going to do some applied leadership learning here today. And so they're talking about who has influenced you the most in your life, and why do they think they've been so influential. So that's the discussion question, and then that will be my launching point for what we're actually doing today.
Yeah. Well, Courtney, who has influenced you the most in your life?
Look at Sheriff turning it around.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm the presenter, Bob. That's I know who has influenced me the most.
That's what I mean. Who is it? I mean, is it familial or extra familial, or how would you classify it that way without getting in the weeds?
Yeah,
'Cause
for
we've got 20
me,
seconds
it's
left.
definitely my mom.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
some good in way. And then I have another friend, Susan, who professionally has influenced me a lot. So
Yeah. No, the same. It's I think it's in stages in life where you have that category of influence. So I'm with you. Yeah, good. Thanks for sharing.
yeah. Everybody's popping back in. It is like the Matrix, right, guys? You're like, where did I go?
Where did my friends go?
Wait, I have to talk to people I don't know now. What? It's a great networking tool, and also allows a little bit greater conversation that I like to use. So we'll let people join. Some of you guys got the notice and just closed the room. Other people are going to let the time run out, and they'll be brought back immediately.
About 5 seconds.
Okay, great. I see Fakir Habitat. I train the Loudon Habitat. Teresa.
We're back. Nice.
Yeah, everybody enjoy little Matrix. Coming on back. Get to meet some new people, hopefully. It's a great way, again, to just further relationships. So now that you're back, if you could go ahead and mute until I ask you to, because again, I will. I do want a couple of brave volunteers to share who has influenced you the most in your life, and what do you think they did, or why were they so influential? So you can just come off of mute. You don't have to wait for me to call on you. I'll volunteer if people don't.
I'll start if you'd like.
Yeah. Thanks,
For
Liz.
me, it was my mother and my maternal grandmother. They were very strong believers that each and every one of us are called to give back to those around us each and every day. And so from a very young age, I was taught to be very thoughtful of other people, and to look for ways in which I can make a positive difference in the lives of those around me. We worked at a soup kitchen every Thanksgiving. We did coat drives. We were always helping people. And I think it was a great thing to instill in me. And I'm hopeful that I'm still carrying that on to some degree.
Great. One more, another brave soul.
I'll share if no one else is.
Thanks.
I saw Amelia popping on. I said, so for me, I picked a professional mentor, but it reinforces the same influencers of my parents, and it's the ability to be a truth teller with love. And so I appreciated that professional mentor because it reinforced that personal thing. And so, you know, there's a time and a place, you know, maybe how to say things and whatnot, but that at the core, you know, leading with truth is really important. So I appreciated that.
Fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Again, I know that this is not the normal format. So just so you know, anytime you see my name on a workshop, you know what you're getting now. And now you're all like, oh no, we're not signing up for that one anymore. She's going to make us talk and be on camera. Well, so I'm going to jump in because influence is what we're talking about today. The influence model and how to maximize your influence. And so oftentimes I like to just do some definitions here. So again, we're all on the same page that we know. So when we talk about maximize, what does that mean? To make as large or as great as possible, to make the best use of. So keep that in mind, maximize. And what is influence? The capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. So we take those two, and that's actually how we define leadership. Leadership is maximizing your influence. And some of you are on here going, oh, I'm a solopreneur, or I'm a small business. I am a stay-at-home mom. I don't lead anyone. And I'm going to fight you because you're leading yourself at a minimum. And so how are you maximizing influence? And what's it like to be on the other side of you? That's what we're going to try to do as we unpack the influence model. So here is the tool. We won't get to all of it today, and I'm going to give you guys some hints on how to get to the rest of it without me for free. No worries. You don't have to buy my services. This is not that sales pitch. But when we think about the influence model, there's always you and others on the other side, right? Whenever you're having any kind of interaction, whether it's interaction with your spouse, your children, a potential client, maybe it's a business partner. It's how anytime there's two people coming together to try to have some relationship. In order to get to transaction where you're actually going to either do business or again, make a decision to work with that person, we say that there are 4 filters that you have to break through in order to get to just doing the transaction. Let's not even go to the relationship and influence and impact part yet. But they're chemistry, character, competency, and credibility. That is how you build trust. And if people do business with people, what they know, they like, and they trust, right? So those 3 things. So thinking through, what are my filters? What are people really asking? So here's how we define them. Character. Do I trust you? Are you a person of integrity? If I'm sharing something with you, are you going to share with other people? Are you going to keep it, confidential? Do I actually think you're going to follow through on what you say you're going to do? So do I trust you? What is your character? Chemistry. Do I like you? Do I connect with you? Do I enjoy spending time with you? Right? These are, yeah, I could do business with you because I enjoy it. Maybe we've got some things in common. I think you're a nice person, but you have to have that chemistry piece. Third, competence. Are you competent? Are you confident in the way that you communicate your competence? And do you have a proven track record of success? It is possible to be confident, but not able to communicate it confidently. And so if you can't do both of those pieces, you often won't be heard. And so competency is a big filter. Lastly, credibility. Are you able to take your competence? So you take what you know, understand my individual reality, so the complexity of what's going on with me, and design a bespoke solution that helps me achieve my goals. So it's not enough to be good at what you do, but can you actually apply it to what I'm doing? And so again, some people are like, oh, competence and credibility are the same thing. Nope. If you've ever met somebody that you're like, wow, you're really good at what you do, but you're trying to fit a square peg in this round hole of my business, credibility with me, not quite there, right? So as we think through this competency, the character, how we're building trust, the aha here is every single one of you has a barrier to establishing trust that you have to overcome. As I was talking here, some of you are going, oh yeah, that's really important to me, right? You're thinking competency. I need to know you know what you're doing before I'm even gonna, I don't care. I don't have to like you, but I need to know what you're doing. Others of you are going, oh no, I have to like you. I have to get that warm, fuzzy feeling, right? And every single one of you has a barrier to building trust from yourself. Like, what's it like to be on the other side of you? But it also means that you have a barrier for others to building trust with you. And so we're going to go back into your breakout rooms, and I want you to answer this question, or these questions. Which of the 4 filters comes easily to you? Meaning, which ones do you think you get to, like, you check off quickly, right? I will say for me, it's usually chemistry or character, just based on how I come off, or, hey, I'm looking to build common ground. The other 2 are a little bit harder for me. Which is more difficult and why? So that's what you're going to be discussing in your breakout rooms this time. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Great, everybody's in.
Yep, they all are. They're getting their question now. All right, they all should have got a message. They
Great.
sure did.
Welcome back. Again, I'm very, very jealous of Amelia's background. I'd like to be there right now.
Me too. As I'm sitting here with a turtleneck and a sweater with Panama behind me. And a heat blanket on my lap and a heater next to me trying to stay warm. Pretending it's Panama.
Whatever gets us through, right? Whatever
Yep.
gets us through. I love it. So Noah's got the Northern Lights. That's fantastic. My favorite background is not very professional, so I don't put it up often, but it happens to be when the UVA won the national championship. So there's lots of confetti and streamers, and it's very distracting, which is why it doesn't go up. Awesome. Okay, well, let's have I'd love to hear from a couple of you again. So had you ever thought about this? Like, wow, which ones matter to me and which ones do I think I'm good at? So one, I want to hear what comes easily to you and what is difficult and why you think that. So lots of people are off mute right now, so one of you is going to have to speak up.
Well, I guess I'll speak up for our little group. We all pretty much agreed that character and chemistry come fairly easy at the beginning of the relationship. It takes time to determine competency and credibility. And sometimes that also goes to character, because you can lose that character piece once you realize that competency and the credibility are toast. Even if I like you because you have a great chemistry and you can chit chat and you're fun to have a beer with, I may not do business with you because you've lost that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where we talked about in our group.
Okay. Which comes easily, what do you think is more difficult for you personally to build?
To build with other people, that's where we didn't get into that as much. To build with other people, I think that the competency piece, and that's really more the opportunity to be able to work with someone and for them to see that you're competent. Okay. I mean, that's just, you have to have that opportunity. It's kind of the chicken or the egg, which one came first. We have to do business together for you to know that I'm actually competent in what I do.
Yeah. Other thoughts? A couple more people.
I'm Kendall.
Kendall?
I was reflecting, and another person in the group as well, that with over 36 years into my profession and 25 years as a business owner, my weaknesses and strengths have changed over the years. And certainly my competency, I feel very strong about and it's just because of experience. It's not because, oh, I'm the greatest. It's just because I'm old and I've been doing this a long time. And of course, chemistry, we all felt like was really important because in order to gain the other three, there needed to be some sort of chemistry, not necessarily that you were going to socialize with the person outside of the forum that you were in, but that you were developing trust so you could open the door to those other areas.
Right. And that is important to note. You mentioned something. I would not characterize you as being old. We'll just go with experience. Okay.
We'll just say 60 to me is old.
Experienced. And you've developed over the years. And as you develop as a person, your nature, your nurture, and your choice are all going to play into how people experience you. Mm-hmm. Now, when we do the influence model and we talk about this is a way to be more intentional about building relationship, not manipulative. Some people actually look at this. And most of you here would never be manipulative, or at least want to admit this, but you're thinking, oh, okay, great. I know I have to check that one to get what I want. That's not our goal. It is because we want to build true trust. That's where you have the opportunity for repeat business, for having somebody if they're asked, hey, who's been the most influential? They're going to go, you know what? It was Kathy Godfrey. Years ago, she did this for me and she impacted my life because she built that influence, right? And so knowing how you had to build the trust and then gives you the opportunity for actual influence and impact. So in my world, we do a psychometric, which is just like Myers-Briggs, DISC, Enneagram, any of that stuff. We use something called the 5 voices. And over time, you'll hear me talk about that. But when you're thinking about MBTI, which is Myers-Briggs, that's what our 5 voices is based on. It's just a little bit more scalable. We have your feelers. These would be our creative connectors, our nurturers, and our connectors. They first, most important to them is character and chemistry. Do I like you and do I trust you? So if you start to think about, okay, who's on the other side of me and how do I need to build influence with them? They're saying, okay, character and chemistry, I need to influence with them. But if that is their voice too, if they are feelers by nature, character and chemistry is going to be important. That's going to be how they lead. And you want to lead with your strengths, but you also need to realize that if the other person on the other side of you is not a feeler, that, yep, they care about your competency and credibility first. So you need to be aware of, okay, this person, they're a thinker. They make decisions on systems and logic and rationality. I need to show them that I know what I'm doing, and I need to show them that quickly. To Amelia's point, it often does take time to show people you know what you're doing. However, if you're having that interaction, the initial interaction, you can try to figure out, okay, what do I need to do, right? Well, I need to show them that I know what I'm talking about. Not in a braggadocious way, obviously. That's right. You want to be secure, confident, and humble in how you describe what you're doing. But I need to break through competency and credibility with them. So while I may lead with the character and chemistry, I'm going to move quickly to try to build these relationships, depending on the time, right? And so I'm going to use kind of a silly interaction here, but anybody ever tried to return something to a store after the return period is done? Anybody? Okay, right? So say I'm going into Home Goods because, you know, I'm a female. I happen to like that. I have a new house. It's great. And the 30-day period has been expired. And I'm going to say, hey, so character and chemistry are important to me. But I don't know. Sheila on the other side, we're just going to call her that, and say, hey, Sheila, I know that I'm outside of my window. How can you, and I'm so sorry. And I got lost track of time. I'm going to try to build some rapport, right? I'm not going to just hand her the receipt and expect her to do it. And if she does say, oh no, we can't do it. Sheila, I'm so sorry. You're right. I did. But it's a competency of, I know, like logic is no, like I'm owning that, right? No, I shouldn't be able to do this. I understand that. However, I'm going to build that character and rapport. Chances of actually doing that transaction where she's going to return it for me are a little bit better. So that's kind of a silly day-to-day interaction. But think about yourself in your business dealings, right? You're meeting a new person. You're networking maybe in a chamber environment, because that's what we do, right? If you're having these interactions and you know yourself, then you can take the time to then say, how do I show up? How am I going to build this trust so that at the end of the day, I can get to relationship and influence and impact? The aha here is that relationship happens on the other side. So relationship before opportunity. If you've ever met somebody who wants to dive in and you're like, whoa, I just met you. We're not going to get married. Can we date first a little bit? I build that relationship. That's where the opportunity lies. And so as we go through the influence model, again, this is a short snippet of what we do. If both folks lower their walls of self-preservation, which is nothing to lose, nothing to hide, and nothing to prove, that's when you have that lasting impact. But you have to build that trust before you even can get to self-preservation barriers. So I know that there's probably a lot of questions having to do with self-preservation and relationships. That's a whole other presentation, to be honest. But again, I can teach this tool for 4 hours if we had that time, but we don't. The idea is, what's it like to be on the other side of me? And how do I need to be intentional about building trust if I don't know, right? So it always starts with yourself, then working for the people that are on the other side. So what questions do you have? You can put them in the chat. You can come off mute. We have a little bit of time here for some Q&A.
Could I just make a comment?
Sure.
So you got me to thinking about it. You know, we kind of have a captured audience in our line of work. So, you know, it is when you make contact with someone, you kind of drive the conversation. But one of the things I did when I took office, and this really had to do with building trust in the community, was I explained to the deputies that, you know, if we make a traffic stop or anything that we do, we should treat people the way that we would like to be treated. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's that simple. It's the golden rule. Now, we'll have people that'll go south and we'll have to deal with those accordingly. But more often than not, there is a sense where people kind of, well, instead of being tense and upset about what's dealing with it, that puts them at ease. And we're able to conduct, you know, our transaction, our business, if you will, you know, from that standpoint. So I think it goes a long way to building trust the way that Courtney, you first described. When you go in, you already know that, okay, look, you know, this is right outside. I'm coloring outside the lines on this one, but is there something we can do? And I think that plays a significant role in being able to influence and also to receive information and moving ahead, that you're open. Over to you.
Absolutely. No, that's a great comment. And I love the golden rule. I like to take it one further to the platinum rule. Treat others the way they would want to be treated. And part of that is having to understand, again, who's on the other side of you, right? How would you want to be treated? But then trying to figure out, how did they want to be treated, and not in a manipulative way, right? Again, I am not about manipulation. If you ever go away and you're like, wow, that Courtney really taught me how to be a puppet master. Nope, not quite what I was after, but I love that. And it's true, right? There's a certain level of competency that comes when you guys walk up to a car, right? Because you have a badge, but you need to build the character and chemistry so that people in the community trust you. That's great. Love it. Other questions and comments?
I just have one thing to say, and I apologize that my video is not working, but I'm on this call on my phone. One of the things that I've always used in my business, because I have to interview for a job every single time I go out to a listing appointment. I look at it as an interview for a job, because that's what I'm being hired to do. And each person is interviewing me in a different way. So I have to adjust to a lot of different personalities and a lot of different scenarios and different things that are happening in their lives. So one of the things that I was taught was to kind of go, I use it this in the same analogy you use it, but a little bit different, more artistic. What I say is, sometimes we have to come out of our movie that we're in and become the director behind it and see how our movie is playing out. So sometimes we have to, like you said, be on the other side. So how I equate it is, we have to be the director of our movie. So sometimes we have to step back and say, how is this movie going? Is this going well? Is there something I can adjust to make this have a better scene or a better ending? Because again, when I go out, I'm interviewing for a job every single time. So I'm always having to adjust to scenarios and different people. And I think listening is one of the key things that you have to learn how to do better than anything, because unless you hear what people are saying, you can't really understand it and process it and be that person that they need you to be. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And John, it sounds like you are a realtor, which if you learn to have influence with those people who hire you, your chances of referrals increases exponentially. And so if you're learning to go just beyond the transaction to actually getting lasting influence, you can impact their life, you can impact their world, and honestly impact your own business just by creating that influence. And so it's right, stepping outside saying, hey, how's this movie going? I love that imagery. How's it going? Because you can be objective. There's a fun statistic that I love to use is that 95% of people think that they are self-aware. The actual number is about 10 to 15%. And so if you can step back and say, what's it like to be on the other side of me, and be honest with yourself, that's the key. I will not lie to myself. The chances of you recognizing how your movie is going is even better. So I love that. That's going to be a new imagery for me. Thank you. Other thoughts, questions?
I'll just share, thinking through the beginning of the conversation, our first breakout, talking about the person who influenced us the most. And in our group, we talked about, it was all our parents. It was 2 dads and a mom. And thinking about, because you grow up with them, you know their character, and that character rubbing off on you, and that credibility and the confidence that you think about that piece of it and how important that is. And you have that time because you have them that entire lifespan, however that long that lifespan is that you have with your parents, to be able to establish that and how long that stays with you if they do it well. And I guess I was kind of reflecting back on that part, thinking about, I'd said my dad, and thinking about his character and his credibility and all of those pieces and how much that's rubbed off on me over time. So just kind of taking that full circle.
Yeah, and you mentioned something earlier about how people can actually lose character over time if they show you who they are, right? It's consistency. And in a larger setting in this, each of the voices has a natural starting point. So our 5 voices are nurturer, creative, guardian, connector, and pioneer. And we have a whole model that can show you like, hey, this is where you start, but over time, you go here if you're not being intentional. And so that I just, again, being mindful of, where do I struggle? Where am I strong? What do I want to, what do I need to do? And as you said, the character, you had that time. Well, what if you have to build these quickly, right? Mm-hmm. Some of you all don't have years to make deals happen, right? As Dawn, she's interviewing for a job every time she goes in there. So knowing which filters everybody's asking, these are the questions every single person's asking. They may just ask them in a different order. Yeah. Somebody else was going to talk before Amelia. Kendall.
I just wanted to build on Sheriff Mosier and Dawn's points. I think any of us that work with the public and we have our first initial one-on-one interaction, whether it's being pulled over, whether it's selling a car, whether it's in a physical therapy private treatment room, I always try to say to my staff, because we're very fun loving over here, joking and laughing, that picture yourself sitting in that doctor's office or in that car that got pulled over, or in, as Dawn said, the situation with so much going on. And how do you feel when you hear the folks laughing and joking, and it's about 5 minutes late for them to be coming in, and they're talking about their weekend and blah, blah, blah. We all think that's a nice workplace. Well, the first time that person's in our office, they see that as disrespectful. And we've all sat in a private treatment room at a doctor's office with the door shut and heard all that commotion going on, thinking, what about me? Okay, they're supposed to be in here with me. So I always try to say, think of yourself, or when you go to that window, customer service, and that person, the first things that come out of their mouth is a rude tone, like they're doing you a favor at a retail store to speak with you. We never want to sound that way. We want to be, hey. And so I try to paint the picture in their mind of the negative experience that they have probably had with somebody that was rude from the first word.
Yep.
Hello. I'm not sure if they're in today. I guess I can check. Can you hold for just a minute? I mean, holy cow. But that happens all the time, right?
It does.
So the same golden rule and all the respect, but put yourself in that situation that we've all been in.
Right. That's great. Well, I have enjoyed being with you guys. And again, this is a small introduction piece to what we do. I'm going to share my screen again because I do have some next steps opportunities that if you are here and you thought, hey, this may be a tool I want to teach my team. I have a worksheet that I can send you. You just have to email me and you can run through this tool with your team. Free, promise. You engage, schedule a time, discuss the tool. Our goal, like I said, is to create a tool that may illustrate a philosophy or a thought you had, but it puts pictures to it, right? It's that visual reminder. What is it like to be on the other side of me? So you can ask me for the influence model toolkit for your team worksheet. This is something we offer. My company is actually a very, we do high tech and high touch. So a lot of what we do is online. Most of our material is actually free online. Our team trainings are not. But if you go here, this is like the Netflix of leadership. You don't have to put a credit card in. You do have to put your email in, but you can either go to that link or you can actually scan this QR code from your computer right now and it will send you there. But you get a free account. And if you want to, you can go watch the video on the influence model. Steve's British. He's super fun to listen to, way more fun than I am. But you also can get to a little bit more of the self-preservation side because we do deal with that online. So it's 100% free. It also will start talking to you about 5 voices. What is your voice? What's it like to be on the other side of you? And you can do a lot of self-awareness training. So that's there. And lastly, if you want to know more, let's connect further. This is a link that could be, it's a 30-minute Zoom link, or you can email me directly. The chamber does have all my contact information as well. That is my cell phone number. And if you leave me a message, I will call you back. I probably won't answer it when you call because spam, but and scammers. But if you leave me a voicemail, I do respond to those. So this is all of my information. I'm looking forward to being a part of this series. And I do know that there's going to be other tools that we look at. Again, remember, what's it like to be on the other side of you? And how are you being intentional in your leadership, whether it's yourself, your family, your team, your organization, and your community? So I am going to, next, I will be back on the 7th of April. We don't have the topic yet. But that's the mystery, right? That's the fun of being flexible. Carlton and I will be talking about that soon. So that's it. I'm going to leave this up here and actually stop sharing if my chamber folks want to go ahead and wrap us up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Courtney. That was really great. I do want to leave everyone with a last nugget, as Courtney was just talking about. Keep in mind that these filters that we're talking about, people are judging your organizations by the exact same filters. So the people and the processes and the vision and all those important things about your organization, people are filtering you and your organization in much the same way. So keep those things in mind. I want to thank our 2 sponsors for today, Marianne Clyde and Business Your Way, and our friends David and Helen from AES Clean Energy. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and I look forward to when next we meet.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Courtney.
Bye, everyone. It was a great